Hi everyone. So welcome to the live stream today, and this is the second episode in our discussion where I take a couple of questions from you and then assist you with a couple of things that you are having challenges with in order for you to prepare well for the examination and most importantly pass the examination. So if you join the stream, comment in the chat box any questions you have for me or put it in the comment section on for those of you joining us on Facebook, any questions you have for me, and I'm going to be sharing my thought also on a couple of few things that you have to take into consideration or know about in order for you to increase the chances of passing the examination. Now, as you'll be aware or you are aware already, for the April 2022 examination, we have some few days to go at the end of the day, and there are few key things that you have to be mindful of. There are ways that you need to revise and prepare yourself in order for you to prepare and then pass the examination. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you some smart revision strategies or some smart revision techniques that will enable you to increase your chances of passing the examination. So comment in the chat box any questions you have for me. I'm going to be picking your questions and providing you with some answers and some sharing some thought with you as we continue with our discussion. Remember also that you can download our mobile application on the Google Play Store or on the Apple App Store and get access to the videos, content, and various other things that will help you in order for you to pass the examination and become successful. So let's begin the journey today, real quick. Yesterday, I got a couple of questions coming in relating to um, preparation of consolidated financial statements, recognition of revenue, then issue relating to some other areas. And so I'm going to be possibly sharing my thought on some of them as we dive deeper into the discussion today and see exactly what you have at the end of the day for that one. So a couple of things you have to take into consideration. Also, let me say this before we even dive into it. I have shared with you key topics that you have to focus on in order to pass the examination relating to public sector accounting and finance, financial reporting, corporate reporting, advanced audit and assurance, management accounting, and what else? I think, yeah. So we've shared questions on or key topics on these areas. In case you missed that, you can check the playlist on the channel and you'll be able to see all those lectures. The one that relates to the subject that you are preparing for, you can watch that and then prepare for the subject very well. So let's see a couple of things and let's share our thoughts on a couple of items that you need to look out for as you go into the exam hall. Now, with some few days left for us to go into the examination, just some few days left for us to go into the examination. By now, the issue that is happening is okay, how do you revise? How do you ensure that you put yourself in the spots that you'll be able to pass the examination? Now, 99.9% of the time by now, you should be able to have finished the syllabus, or probably you are left with maybe some 2%, 5%, or you've covered above 90% for the coverage of the syllabus. Like I say always, you don't want to do pick and choose and put yourself in a spot where you're just focusing on some part of the syllabus and going away. So, for instance, someone in corporate reporting will say, hey, consolidation is just 20 mark. It's just 20 marks. There will be theories on consolidation coming in that adding up making 25 mark at the end of the day. But then consolidation in corporate reporting is a lot. If you say you want to cover everything in corporate reporting relating to consolidation, you're going to cover the traditional basics, things that relates to the financial reporting, intra-group trading, calculation of goodwill. Then you're going to be dealing with a complex group structure where you're dealing with sub-subsidiary, or you're dealing with the entity having more than one subsidiary and probably an associate coming in that case. Not only that, you would have to deal with issues about foreign subsidiary. There is a way that has to also be dealt with when it comes to dealing with consolidated financial statement in corporate reporting. Then, aside that, you would have to also deal with issues about consolidated cash flow statement at the corporate reporting level, then you have to also make time to look at issues in relation to changes in ownership, stages acquisition, disposal of subsidiary, and all of those things. So if you look at it carefully, if you say you're going to really spend time to study everything in consolidation for corporate reporting, you realize that you'll be shutting yourself low. Now, that doesn't also mean you don't go through everything. But what I'm trying to tell you is that corporate reporting, consolidation, it's broad, very, very broad. So before you head on to looking at the corporate reporting and looking at the issue about consolidation, the question you need to ask yourself is, what are the areas that I can pick easy marks? Almost always, every subject you are writing, whatever subject it is you are writing, the easy marks are what you have to be excited about. So name a subject, and then we can talk about easy areas. So for instance, if I'm doing management accounting, what are the easy marks that I can pick? Right. The examiner is going to be bringing the theory up. Theory in what? Theory about models of evaluation. What are the models of evaluation? Balance scorecard, throughput accounting, cost reduction, cost control, issues about value chain analysis, dealing with issues in relation to just-in-time system, total quality management. All these are theory areas. Yes, they're going to be there in the exam hall. One of them will be there in the exam hall. Those are theories, and you can scan, read them quickly, and go away. Only that there is a calculation attached to it, something like throughput accounting ratio. So you have to be mindful of that. Then there is a theory under short-term decisions. Now, short-term decisions is very broad. Each of the topics under short-term decision has some theories in there that the examiner can ask you a question on. So, for instance, issues like break-even analysis. It's fundamental. There are theories under break-even analysis, such as the limitations of break-even analysis, the assumptions of break-even analysis, the importance of break-even analysis, or the uses of break-even analysis. Then you go to issues about pricing decisions. That is a pure theory area that the examiner can bring up. Then you go to issues about outsourcing decisions. That is a pure theory area that the examiner can bring up. So, what am I trying to tell you? What I'm trying to tell you is that as you are learning the subject, say management accounting, you need to ask yourself, what are the easy areas that doesn't require a lot of time? Then you read these theories as fast as possible, make sure you understand them, and then you create your summarized notes for these theories. Does that make sense? So it's not there are certain things you don't have time to go over them, or you don't have time to look at them over and over again. You go through it. Now I see some of you joining. Welcome to the live stream today. This is a Q&A session. So let me know if you have any specific questions that you would want me to share my thought on. And I'm going to be bringing your questions up here, and I'm going to share my thought on it. Let me know a topic in a subject that you are studying that you would want some clarity on, and then I'll be providing you with some clarity in that case. So that is it about man accounting. The easy areas, you should be able to pick it up at the end of the day. Now I'm seeing some chats coming in. Let me see if I can look at them. Ebenezer Atta with a thumbs up. Thank you, Ebenezer. Ebenezer said principles of taxation. Um, okay, you are asking now that easy areas for principles of taxation, right? I think I've shared this already on the channel, but when it comes to principles of taxation, there are done deal issues that are going to be coming up. Definitely, there is a question on income tax liabilities of individuals and partnership. There's going to be a question on that coming in at the end of the day. But even before we come to the computational aspects, there are written aspects that the examiner is going to be bringing. One of the written aspects that 99.9% of the time the examiner is going to be bringing is a three-tier pension scheme in Ghana. It's something that the examiner almost every semester has brought 5-mark question, between 5 to 10 mark question from there. So it's an area that you have to quickly read. I don't know if you use my advanced taxation book, everything that you need to know about that is there. And then, I mean, you go through that. That is a theory area. The examiner is going to be asking questions from there. Then also the issue about tax administration in Ghana. Now, that is very broad. But again, you have to read that strategically and prepare your summary notes relating to tax assessment, the Ghana Revenue Authority, the governance of the Ghana Revenue Authority, the role of the Ghana Revenue Authority, issues about types of taxes that the Ghana Revenue Authority looks at, the various laws that governs taxes, and then mechanisms or principles of taxation. All those things, these are under tax administration theory area that we need to look out for. That value added tax administration is an area that has both calculation and theory that we have to be on the lookout for. So, if you are doing principles of taxation, like I said, the key areas I've already shared them in the video on key topics to focus on to pass principles of taxation. You can check that on the channel and you'll be able to watch that video. But that is the issue there. Now, when you get to the exam hall, you want to not get excited and go and start with the calculation aspect always. So every subject you are writing, I will entreat you. When you get to the exam hall, answer the written part first. So again, let's say you are doing management accounting or financial reporting. There is going to be theory on ethics. 99.9% of the time, there will be a question on ethics. Go for it. Go answer it. So let's say you are doing financial reporting. You take the theory on ethics, answer it. Now, somebody will say, Nhyira, what if I don't know the question on ethics? Why wouldn't you know? Like, why? I don't get it. Why wouldn't you know? Because ethics, you should know ethics. Does that make sense? Before you go to the exam hall, you should know ethics. So it's an easy mark area you could pick. If you're doing management accounting, you're doing corporate reporting, you are doing advanced audit and assurance, you are doing financial reporting, ethics is an easy marks. Why the heck wouldn't you know? So read it. The threat to the code of ethics, and then the code of ethics itself, and then the appropriate courses of action that has to be taken in that case. So you answer the ethic question. From there, you look at the other theory questions. If you are doing financial reporting or corporate reporting, there's going to be a written or a theory question on consolidation. And the theories on consolidation, you have to know them. How an entity gains control. Entities who are exempted from the preparation of consolidated financial statements. Indicators of significant influence. Why there will be a negative goodwill and a treatment of negative goodwill. All these things are issues that you have to understand about theories in consolidation at the end of the day. Then investment in associates, IAS 28, it's a theory area that the examiner can throw question on. So answer the theories. So whatever subject you are writing, save yourself some time. And like I say always, if you're writing financial reporting and corporate reporting, you have to make sure that you stay away at the start of the question. Don't go and do consolidation first. Like I say always, people get up and they go and answer the consolidated financial statement question first. You will spend a lot of time on that, but it's just 20 marks at the end of the day. Then you leave the ethics, you leave the other theories, you leave the other areas that you could have answered as fast as possible. Does that make sense? So the reason why many people fail the exams, and many of you have failed an exam before, the reason why some of you fail the exams, it's not because you don't know. It's not because you are blockheaded. It's not because you're dumb. It's not because you don't understand. It's because time caught you and you didn't rationalize your time well, and you attempted the wrong question at the end of the day. So my recommendation to you is this: that number one, if you get to the exam or whatever subject you are writing, answer the theories first. Make sure you answer each question on a fresh page. That is all you have to think about. As far as you are answering each question on a fresh page, you got no problem. You don't have any problem. So take out all the theories first. Read through the question thoroughly and find out what are the theories and written aspects. Take them out. Then you now start with the computations aspects to find out which one can you do best first. Which one can you do best first? Now, there are some of you, you could call yourself that, oh, when it comes to consolidation, I know everything about consolidation. When we put you there, there is a question there. There could be a one-line statement that can cripple your whole consolidation up. That is why you need to make sure that you read through the question thoroughly, then you go in there at the end of the day. So that is the first thing I want you to take into consideration, that if you get to the exam hall, answer the theory or the written questions first. If you happen to be doing, then those of you doing, say, management accounting, one of the things people do is that the ratios, variance analysis, they have the formulas. They go to the exam hall, then they write down all the formulas. Why are you screwing yourself up like that? What if there is no ratios? The variance. What if there is no variance? Or what if the variance there is to prepare a flex budget and then prepare a variance statement at the end of the day? What the heck you gonna do? So yeah, it's an insurance though, but I feel that is a punishment at the end of the day. That is not an effective way for you to study. That is why, I mean, if you're a follower of my work, you see how I teach variance. It's about the concept. If you understand it, no matter the question, you can solve it rather than chewing certain formulas and screwing yourself up. And then you forget one formula and you're like, yo, everything is going to break down on you at the end of the day. So you want to make sure that the approach that you use in the exam hall is going to be very critical. Yeah, I'm not saying that if you are using the formula, you are wrong. That's not what I'm saying. Whatever works for you, go for it. But you need to make sure you are apportioning time as much as you are doing and answering the right questions at the end of the day. That is the first thing I want you to do when you get to the exam hall. So read the question thoroughly, start with your written aspect before you go to the calculation questions also at the end of the day. Let me say that the examiner has complained also over and over again relating to issues about grammar. Okay, grammar, to the extent that the examiner made an assertion that sometimes they read a script and um, it's like the students have never had any tertiary education, and you're like, yo, that's gross. That's not good at all. So you make sure that you really work on your grammar at the end of the day. Now, the only way you can solve that is what I keep on saying all the time, which I know many of you are not going to do, but I'm going to say it anyway. And that is going to be the issue about when you hear get ready to stop work, drop your pen. Okay. When you hear get ready to stop work, you drop your pen. Then you read over quickly what you have written. Because you see, the elimination of a preposition, okay, or an article, maybe instead of putting an and somewhere, it's not there, there, not, like those words changes everything at the end of the day. So in the exam hall, that is another thing I want you to do. If you hear get ready to stop work, when the invigilator says get ready to stop work, drop your pen and then start reading over the written aspect. Because every question or every exam you are writing is going to have some written. If you happen to be writing advanced audit and assurance there, that one you are even screwed at the end of the day. Like, you are screwed at the end of the day. Now, I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. This is the second episode on our Q&A session. So drop in the comment section any questions you have for me, something you would want me to share my thought on as we try to build some understanding in what we are doing. Then um, Joseph Bab says hi. Hello, Joseph. Jeremy Giro said, good evening, Shira. Good evening, Jeremy. Francis Emusa said, hello, hi, Francis. Then I'm seeing a question coming in from Kofi JB Eduse said, please, can you help me out with the concept behind sales mix variance and fixed overhead variance? Okay. The sales mix variance comes in when an entity is selling more than one product. Okay, so anytime an entity is selling more than one product, then we have to deal with the sales volume variance will be divided into two. Let me bring up my screen and then show you exactly what I mean by that. Let me bring in my slide and then I can scribble something here on my slide for you. YouTube revision session. Okay. So I think my screen should be up now. Okay, there we go. Okay, this is okay. So this is the rationale behind the sales mix variant. So if the entity is selling more than one product, what happens is that the sales volume variance is further divided into two. Okay, and that is going to be the sales mix variance and then the sales volume quantity variance. Now, the rationale or the calculation of the sales mix variance works the same way as the material mix variance. So the idea is that you're going to be bringing in the issue about the actual mix in standard mix and then actual mix in actual quantity. Then you're going to bring the difference up. Then you're going to multiply it by the standard profit or standard margin. Now you have to understand this very well. When you are dealing with a sales volume variance, it depends on the system that the entity is using. Oh. It depends on the system that the entity is using. If the entity is using the marginal costing system, and that will be usually said in the question. So if the entity is using marginal costing system, then what you have to be interested in is the standard contribution. Okay. Then if the entity is using the absorption costing system, then you'll be interested in the standard profit. Okay. So what you use to multiply the difference here will be based on what kind of system the entity is using. So when we say the sales mix variance, that is the rationale behind it. We are looking at, okay, the two or more units that we are selling, more than one unit that we are selling, how many of that should we have sold based on our budgeted sales mix, and how much did we sell? That is the rationale. So if based on our budget, let's say we are having three products. So let's say we have product P, product Q, product Y. Based on our budget, we are supposed to sell 200, or maybe 400, and then 500. So this becomes the sales mix. So the sales mix becomes 2:4:5. That becomes the standard sales mix. So we're going to be basing our calculation on that standard sales mix, and that will give us what we call the actual mix in the standard quantity. And so that is the rationale under the sales mix. It is calculated when more than one output is sold by an entity, and the entity want to find out the difference between how many units it's actually sold as compared to how many units it should have sold based on its standard mix that it has set as an organization. So that is the idea about the sales mix. Okay. Then your second question was, or the second part of your question was the fixed overhead variance. The fixed overhead variance is simply the difference between your budgeted overheads, usually, minus the actual overheads. It's one of the variances that you don't think about anything, because the reason is that fixed overheads remains the same irrespective of the output level. So when it comes to the fixed overheads, we are going to be having that budgeted overheads minus actual overheads, and this is fixed overheads expenditure variance. This is fixed overheads expenditure variance. We have fixed overheads capacity variance as well, and that is the difference between your budgeted units minus your actual units, all multiplied by the issue in relation to your standard fixed overhead absorption rate per unit. The idea is capacity means how many units should you have produced as against how many units you produced. That is your capacity variance. And so we take that based on the standard fixed overhead absorption rate per unit. So if you ask me the concept behind the sales mix and then the fixed overhead variance, this is what we can say in that regard. Let me know if that makes sense for you in that case. Kofi. And then if there are any other questions, please put it up for me as we continue with our discussion here. So that is the issue there. So in the exam hall, these are the key things I want you to know. Take away the theories first. After you take away the theories, okay, so I see um question coming up. He said, thank you, sir. Okay, you're welcome, Kofi. So that is what I want you to understand when it comes to what goes on in the exam hall. Now, how do you then revise now that we are left with some few days to go? Like, how do you structure yourself and you revise smartly? Number one is you need to identify what are the key areas for the exams. That's the first thing you have to identify. This exam that I'm going into, what are the key topics I need to focus on? So let me give you some glimpse. I said I've covered this already on the channel, but let's say you are doing financial, or let's say whatever. Let's say you are doing public sector. If you are doing public sector, you need to ask yourself the public sector exams. What are key issues that whether I like it or not will be in the exam hall? What are the key issues? Number one, PEFA. It's a key issue. Okay, so we take that box. Number two, public-private partnership arrangement. It's a key issue. We take that box. Number three, evaluation of financial statements. It's a key issue. We take that box. Now remember, when you are dealing with the issue like evaluation of financial statements, there are three things here. We can do common size ratios. We can do ratio analysis. We can do budget variance analysis. One of them will be in the exam hall, but you got to take that box. Then you know that there is going to be question. So we've spoken about PEFA, we've spoken about ratios, we've spoken about public-private partnership arrangements. Then we know definitely there will be question on the final accounts. Now, the final accounts could be on the central government, the consolidated fund, could be on a spending unit or another covered entity, a hospital, a municipal, a ministry, whatever the heck. We know it's going to be there. So you must know about it. So you take that box as well. Then you know question 1A, we're going to be having something relating to the accounting techniques, accounting approaches, or the basis of accounting or the accounting concept coming in. So you must understand that well. You take the box. So at this point, the way you revise is number one, you identify what are the key areas I have to focus on so that you reduce your chance of learning a lot of things that will worry you. Does that make sense? Let's say you are doing principles of taxation. Okay, so what are the heavy lifters in principles of taxation? We know there will be question on income tax of individuals and partnership. Whether it's individual or partnership, something is going to be there. Corporate tax liability is basic. Capital allowance is basic. You must know about that. Chargeable gains, dealing with gift tax and capital gain tax. I was discussing this with someone, and I was like, with my student, I think yesterday in our advanced taxation class, I'm like, gift tax should be one of the sources where government gets a lot of money because the kind of gifts that are given in this country, Ghana, and the kind of events that are held in this country, if the GRA put together a tax force, and I can lead the tax force, then we go and take gift tax, 15% of whatever gift you receive at weddings, birthday parties, at even funeral, we have to start taxing because now funeral has turned to business in this country at the end of the day. Those are all ways that we could raise money so that e-levy will not come and affect all of us and the brouhaha going on. So chargeable gain is going to be there. Gift tax, capital gain tax is going to be there. One of them will be there or two of them if the examiner is excited. So the first thing you want to do is identify what are the key areas I need to look out for. If you are doing financial reporting, ratio will be there. Ethics will be there. There will be theory on consolidation. Then there will be standards also there. So you take the box. That is the first thing you need to do as you are revising. Then, once you know the key areas that will be in the exam hall, then the next question you need to ask yourself is, okay, so let me pick a question up. I see a question coming in. Kofi said, I want to understand the concept of ideal time when it comes to relevant costing and variances. Ideal times if there is an ideal time in variance, then you are going to be dealing with issue about how do we call it, the ideal time variance. So when you are calculating the labor variance, we have the labor rate variance, then the labor efficiency variance, and then the ideal time variance. Now, in variances, ideal time variance will come in when the examiner has given us the issue about hours worked different from hours paid for. Stay with me carefully. So that the hours paid for will be more than the hours worked. Hence, if you are doing the direct labor rate variance, you will use the hours paid for. But if you are using the direct labor, if you are calculating direct labor efficiency variance, you will use the hours that was actually worked. Then the difference between the hours worked and the hours paid for becomes the ideal time variance. Does that make sense? So that is how ideal time works when we deal with variance analysis. Now, when we come to relevant costing, ideal time works again when we are dealing with the relevant cost of labor. So let's say, for instance, labor is permanently employed and they have ideal time available. That means that if we use them to undertake the job, we don't going to pay them again. Hence, the hours of ideal time become irrelevant when we are doing relevant costing. Does that make sense? So in relevant costing analysis, when we are determining the labor cost, okay, when we are determining the labor cost, then and labor has some ideal time, then we will no longer pay them. For that reason, all the idle time hours become scrap value because we have permanently employed them and they are there, they are not doing anything. Probably they are just watching some videos, some telenovela, and we need them to come and work on something else for us at the end of the day. So that way we will use them, but we're not going to pay them anything. So in relevant costing analysis, ideal time in the determination of labor cost will be irrelevant because the hours of ideal time we have will not be taken into consideration when we are determining the relevant cost of labor. That is how ideal time is dealt with under relevant costing analysis and also under variance analysis. Let me know if that makes sense for you and if you get a treatment now. Kofi Eduse. Any other questions? I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. Give us a thumbs up on the video. Share the video. Let us reach many students. But also, this is a Q&A session. So when you join, you can bring up your question, whatever you want me to share my thought on, and I can provide you with some answers so you can revise well, go into the exam and pass the exams. So Kofi, let me know if that explanation makes sense for you in that case. So how do we revise? Number one, we've stated that identify the key areas of the syllabus. That's the first issue you do. Smart revision. You identify the key areas of the syllabus. Number two, you identify, after identifying the key areas that are going to be coming in the exam hall, you need to now identify what are the key concepts in each of these areas that I have to focus on. Let me give you an explanation. We know that 99.9% of the time in the public sector exams, there is going to be something about PEFA. Okay. So what are the key issues about PEFA that you have to know about before you go to the exam hall? Number one is the pillars, the 7 pillars of the PEFA. I mean, that is non-negotiable. Okay. You got to know that the key pillars of PEFA is non-negotiable. You got to know that. Number two, you have to know the grading system. And yesterday I explained to you the grading system, A, B, C, D, flip over as 1, 2, 3, 4. So the grading system and how it actually works. And then the two methods that we use, the weakest link method and then the average method at the end of the day. That is a fundamental issue we need to understand at the end of the day. So the 7 pillars, then the way we interpret using the grading system. At least these are two key issues you don't want to screw up with about PEFA. You don't want to screw up with about PEFA. Then you know that when it comes to the preparation of the financial statement in public sector, certain IPSAs are going to be coming up. Whether you like it or not, before you enter the public sector exams, there are certain PEFA that you must understand. Did I say PEFA? Certain IPSAs that you must understand. That is the International Public Sector Accounting Standards that you must understand. Like you need to understand IPSAS 17, property, plant, and equipment. You need to understand IPSAS 12, inventories. Like it's a non-negotiable. You need to understand IPSAS 9, that is going to be revenue from exchange transaction. Then IPSAS 23, revenue from non-exchange transaction. These are fundamental IPSAs that you must understand, because whether you are dealing with how do we call it? A local assembly, you are dealing with other covered entity, or you are dealing with a consolidated fund. As far as you are preparing the financial statement, the statement of financial performance, statement of financial position, it's going to be there. You are going to be applying these things one way or the other. So fundamentally, you must understand this. So what am I saying? I'm saying that step one, identify the key areas that are going to be featuring in the exam hall. Step two, how you do your revision is ask yourself, what are the key issues that I have to pay attention to? So let's go to, say, management accounting. Let's say you are writing management accounting. What are the key issues in management accounting that we need to know about? Okay, number one, question 1A is going to be on performance measurement. Okay, performance measurement is broad, but there are three key issues you must understand. Performance measurement for non-governmental organizations, NGO, performance measurement for profit-making organizations, and then the concept of divisionalization, and that is where transfer pricing comes in. So one of these will be in the exam hall. Either the examiner is asking you about performance evaluation of an NGO, performance evaluation for a profit-making organization, or performance the concept of divisionalization, where you are assessing the a division's performance generally at the end of the day. Then the concept of transfer pricing coming in. So it's a key area. These are the three key issues. You must identify them. Then under each of them, you must identify what are the moving needles I need to focus on at the end of the day. So step one, you identify the key topics. Step two, you identify the sub key issues you need to understand under each of these topics. Short-term decisions will be in the exam hall. Management accounting, there is going to be a short-term decision, but what are the things you need to understand? Primarily, to succeed in each of the short-term decisions in the exam hall, you must understand thoroughly the marginal costing principle. Why? Because the marginal costing principle will be applied when you're doing limiting factor analysis. It will be applied when you're doing make or buy. It will be applied when you're doing relevant cost analysis. It will be applied when you're doing our famous break-even analysis. It will be applied when you're doing shutdown decisions. So the marginal costing principle, you must understand it as a management accounting student. Another principle you need to understand as a management accounting student is the absorption costing principle. Why? Because the absorption costing principle can apply in transfer pricing, that is divisionalization, can apply in variance analysis, can apply in budgeting and budgetary control, and can be a dedicated question also on its own. Does that make sense? So you need to ask yourself, what am I supposed to know about? That is the second thing. So step one, what are the key topics that will be in the exam hall? Step two, under each of the key topics, what are the key issues that I have to worry about? So financial reporting, we know there is going to be standards there. Okay, there's going to be standards because single entity financial statement, whether cash flow, profit or loss, statement of changes in equity, statement of financial position, whatever the heck the examiner is going to be bringing, you're going to be applying accounting standards. Okay. Now, there are a lot of accounting standards. Must you know all of them? Yeah, I would love it if you know all of them before you go to the exam hall. But then, non-negotiable, there are certain standards you must know about them before you go to the exam hall. The day you step your feet into the exam hall, you must make sure you understand these accounting standards. IAS 16, property, plant, and equipment. You cannot say you don't understand IAS 16. You cannot say you don't understand IAS 12, income tax. So if by now you still have problem with IAS 16, you got to go back, look at that topic again, look at that standard again, and make sure you understand it very well. IAS 12, income tax, it's basic. You got to understand it because whatever statement the examiner asks you to prepare, there will be tax somewhere. Either the fair tax or the traditional tax is going to be there. Number three, you're going to understand the issue relating to financial instruments, IFRS 9. It's a favorite area, it's a favorite standard that the examiner finds to bring one way or the other as a dedicated question or as part of the footnotes. You must understand that. You cannot take anything for granted in that regard. Now, the sweet spot is this. Before you can conclude and say, oh, I now understand IAS 16, you must understand the encumbrances of IAS 16. You see, IAS 16 has concubines that you need to understand. Okay, it has a lot of girlfriends that you need to understand. Now, the girlfriends of IAS 16 include issues like IAS 12, income tax. There is a connection there. IAS 37, there is a connection there. IAS 40, there is a connection there. IAS 36, there is a connection there. Issues about IFRS, how do we call it? Leases. It has a connection there. So before you can say, oh, now I'm okay with IAS 16, boy, you got to look at all of those other standards. IAS 23 also has a connection, borrowing cost, and IAS 20, government grants, also has a connection. So that is the beauty of the standards. Like I say always, it's easy to pass financial reporting and corporate reporting because the standards are not on their own, they are connected. So if you understand that the accounting standards are connected, then they become easy for you to study. So I had somebody who say, "Oh, Nhyira, I have looked at IAS 37, so I don't understand." No, then I asked the person, "Do you understand IAS 16?" Then the person said, "Yeah, I understand IAS 16 a little bit." Oh, yeah, I'm okay with IAS 16. Then I said, "Okay, do you know IAS 16 has a connection with IAS 37? You know that?" So why, since you understand IAS 16, how about connecting the love from there to IAS 37 so you can draw the line? Boom, it becomes easy. So if you understand that these standards are interconnected and interrelated to each other, it becomes very easy for you at the end of the day. So that is the thing. So step number one, identify the key areas that will be coming in the exam hall. Step number two, identify the key sub issues under each of the key areas. Okay? Then step number three, I want you to make sure you understand everything relating to those key areas that we have identified. And then you practice questions. By now, you should be able to take certain topics that, even if you don't look at it again, in the next 2 weeks, as the exams comes, you'll be able to, when the question comes, you can answer. You should be able to know that. By now, the theories on consolidation, it should be at your fingertips. Don't chew baba. Some of you don't get time to study, so your life has become baba. All you know is baba. You chew baba, then you forget. No, you need to sort of have this engulf with your brain. Your brain is huge, can retain a lot of information. So don't make this life baba. Then you chew, you're trying to chew. No. Understand it, personalize it, learn as though you're going to teach somebody. Learn as though you're going to teach your wife, you're going to teach your husband, you're going to teach your girlfriend, you're going to teach your boyfriend. Learn as though you're going to teach your daughter someday. Like, learn like that. When you learn like that, you take away baba. Okay, you take away chew and pour, and you can now personalize, conceptualize it, make it your own, and then you learn it at the end of the day. So by now, something like the theories on consolidation, it shouldn't be your headache. Something like ethics, it shouldn't be your headache. Because I mean, these are simple areas you need to understand if you're doing financial reporting. Very sweet, simple, straight to the point. So you need to identify certain things by now that you can check box on. That, oh, at least you are 95, 98% comfortable with them. And so for that reason, you just have to just can read them quickly again on the day of the exam or closer to the exams, then you should be good at the end of the day. That is the issue there. That is the issue there. That is the issue there. So step number one, identify the key areas that are going to be featuring in the exam hall. Step number two, identify the key topics under each of the key areas we've shared our thoughts on. Then step number three, at this point, identify the areas that you can comfortably conclude on and say you understand, not from Baba, but you understand at the end of the day. Then certainly you're going to practice a lot of questions. Practice a lot of questions. Practice a lot of questions. You see, the last thing you want to do is to read the question kit. Okay? Don't read the question kit, because some of you pick the question kit and then you look at the question, then you go and look at the solution. What the heck is that? That's not how you solve questions. Okay? That's not how you solve questions. You pick the question. Okay, this question is 15 marks. If it is 15 marks, I'm supposed to spend 20 something minutes. Hey, Siri. Oh, okay. Let me punch this out. 1.8 by 15. Let's see, I'm supposed to use 27 minutes. So if it's a 15 mark question, 27 minutes. So you set a stop clock, 27 minutes. Then you solve the question. Don't be tempted to go and look at the solution. If there is anything you are not understanding, still crack your brain. Don't be tempted to go to the solution. Control yourself, tame yourself, and then go through it for the 27 minutes. When you finish, compare your solution to the solution in the book that you are looking out for. Then you see, okay, why did they do this? Okay. And so that is where, if you have, based on wherever place you are attending lectures at, then you can reach out to your lecturer and ask about the fact that, oh, you were solving this question, you don't understand it, you know the solution, but you don't understand how the figure was arrived at, what the heck is going on here. Then your lecturer will be able to guide you in that case. That is, if the where you attend lectures, that is available there at the end of the day. So that is how you practice questions. Some of you deceive yourself that you are practicing questions, but you're just reading the solution. There is nothing in your head. There's nothing in your head. And one of the things we do here is to give students assignments, right? Because it is practicing that is going to be working hard. And one of the things I do is I give assignments, you don't do it. When we are discussing, I sack you from the class. It is what it is. Because, I mean, I cannot come and teach, talk, give an assignment, then you don't do it. So if you don't do the assignment, I sack you from the class when we are discussing the question. You can watch the video later on the portal, but on the live call, you ain't going to be part of it. Why do I do that? Because you see, to pass these exams, you need to practice a lot of questions. And some of you, the reason why you're going to fail the exams is because of the excuses you give to yourself. Because I've heard a lot of the excuses. I've been doing this close to 9 years now, since 2013. So do the maths. I've been doing this close to 9 years now. And I've heard all the excuses. Oh, Nhyira, my wife, my husband, my children, my mother, my father, my job, my boss, my this, my that. ICA doesn't give a shit about you. ICA doesn't care. When the examiners are putting together questions and they are putting together marking scheme, they don't say, oh, let's lower the marking scheme because there are some people who are mothers, who are fathers. Nobody cares about you. So the only way you can pass the exams is to make sure that after you identify the key areas, the key topics, you understand them, then you solve questions. That's it. Practice a lot of questions. That is it. Okay, how many questions must I solve? As many as you can solve. That's it. So that is why the ICA question kit, it's available for some of the subjects. It's great. You can use it. Okay. Only that if you are doing subjects like principles of taxation, advanced taxation, you have to be mindful of the solutions there in some of the books. If you have the uh, first edition that was released, because some of the laws have changed. And so you have to be mindful of the solutions provided there. And definitely where you're attending class, they have taught you. So that is going to be dealt with. But practice a lot of questions. Don't tell yourself I don't have time. Don't tell yourself my job. Oh, Nhyira, when I close, by the time I get home, I'm tired though. Then I'll sleep. I have to wake up at 4 and go back to work. So will you write the exam? Yes, sir. I'll write the exams. By the grace of God, I'll pass. Please stop sabotaging the grace of God. Stop making the grace of God useless. Because the grace of God is powerful. It's available to everybody. If you don't work hard, you're going to fail the exams. So, number one, identify the key areas that will feature in the exam hall. Number two, identify the subtopics under those key areas. Number three, spend time to understand the principles that relates to all of those key topics. Number four is to spend time to practice a lot of questions. Practice a lot of questions. That's what I would say. If you practice a lot of questions, you're able to identify various tricks, various techniques. That is it. That is it. That is it. Some of you are waiting. You're going to be attending intervention classes and all that. It's good. But the purpose of intervention class is for people who are studying so that we just push them a little bit, then they go away. But some of you, from January up till now, you can lay your hands on how many times you sat down to study. And you've not even sat down. Some of you, after lectures, you close the book. That is all. Oh, I'll attend intervention class. You've been doing that and you have been failing the exam, but you're still doing it. So please spend time to solve questions. As many questions as you can, solve it. And stop giving yourself the crap excuses you give yourself. Like I said, ICA doesn't give a shit about you. And nobody cares about you for your information. That, oh, I'm a nursing mother. My husband is this. My wife is this. My boss doesn't allow me to work. We don't give a shit about that. Nobody cares about that. You can go to hell. We don't care. You must understand that is how the world is. It is one paper for everybody. So you want to be a chartered accountant, you have to be willing to give up something. And my last technique I will be sharing with you is you got to be ready to sacrifice. This job or this career requires sacrifice. Because some of you are married, you have children, you have busy jobs, and you are still studying. So if you don't sacrifice, if you don't give up something, you won't be anywhere. So you have to sacrifice. What are you going to sacrifice? I don't know. It's your life. But you need to identify that you have to sacrifice something. You need to put something on the altar of success if you want to become successful and you want to become a chartered accountant. On this altar, you have to make a sacrifice. What are you going to sacrifice? I don't know, but you know it. So the fourth thing the next thing I want to share with you, which is the final thing, is that you got to sacrifice. To pass the ICA examination or whatever the heck, whatever examination you're writing, you have to sacrifice. Maybe you give up some time with friends. Maybe you reduce social media. Maybe you reduce your favorite show on TV so that you can spend time to study and pass these exams, become a chartered accountant, make more money, travel around the world, and have the life you want to have. That's it. That's it. You have to give up something. That's what I want to tell you. And that is the last thing I want to share with you. That if you are going to revise, you're going to strategize yourself, you're going to go into the exam, you're going to pass these exams, you need to sacrifice. You need to give up something. It's an altar. There is an altar. The success is an altar. And on the level of success you achieve depends on the sacrifice you are ready to give. And it's every sphere of life, whether marriage, relationship, business, career, education, whatever area you want to define success in, there is an altar there. And on the altar of success, there has to be a sacrifice. What are you willing to give up for you to become a chartered accountant? What are you willing to give up to become successful in your career? What are you willing to give up to become the person you want to become? You have to give up something. I don't know what you have to give up, but you have to give up something. That's it. That's it. There are times many people see me and they ask me, Nhyira, how is it that you're able to teach all these subjects effortlessly? If you've published all these books, 17 books, and how are you able to do all these? It's sacrifice. My phone cannot ring right now and somebody will say, oh, let's go out. Oh, come and escort me to a funeral. Oh, let's go here. It's a price I have to pay. You invite me to your wedding, I can't come. Not that I don't want to come. I can't come. I have to study. I have a class that I have to do because I want to be a top notch in my industry. Is that what it is about life? No, that is not all what it is about life. But for now, that is all for me. You can't be galavanting all around, going to wedding on Saturday. Some of you go to wedding on Friday, you go to funeral on Saturday, you go to naming ceremony on Sunday, and you are always busy on people's dream. How about your dream? How about your goals? How about your aspiration? Won't you sacrifice for yourself a little bit? Friday, you go for wedding, funeral, Saturday, funeral, Sunday, Thanksgiving service, and you are exhausted. Then you wonder why your life is not moving forward. It's because you are the cause of the problem. You want to be the best, you got to be willing to give up something. And that is what I want to share with you. If you want to pass the exams, be ready to give us something. And I don't know what you're going to give up, but you got to give up something. You got to give up something. Maybe you have to reduce your sleep. That is what it is. You got to give up your sleep. Maybe you sleep 8 hours. Okay, you got to reduce that. Yeah, sure. Doctors say that if you don't sleep for 8 hours, go and ask the medical doctors. I'm not a medical doctor, but go and ask them. When they were in medical school, whether they slept for 8 hours, would they have become medical doctors they are today? You cannot make excuses and not be successful. You cannot make excuses and be successful. So that is what I want to share with you. Seeing some comments coming up. Let's see if I can take them. Kofi said, please, can we get SM key areas in FM? Yeah, I think we have shot a video on that already. That should be available on the channel maybe tomorrow and Friday or so, something like that. So tomorrow, check out on the channel. That should be available on the channel for financial management in that case. Let me know if there are any questions. Put it in the chat for me. Bernard Peho said, please, what are the keys to look at strategic case study? Strategic case studies too, we will be sharing a video on that maybe on Friday. So stay tuned on the channel. In case you have not subscribed, subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. We will be releasing a video on that. But because the strategic case study, you have to understand the various structures of strategic case study. And so we've already done a video on that. I think my team should be working on that. So tomorrow and Thursday, did I say tomorrow and Thursday? Tomorrow and Friday, one of them, case study and FM, should be released in that regard. So stay tuned. You'll be getting that. Asare Kwao said, okay, sir, all right. Asare Kwao said, thank you, boss. Always a pleasure. My dream, okay. My dream said they like to good time. I don't know. I don't understand. Joseph Babs. Joseph, what are you doing? You are jumping over or what? Bernard said, thanks. Always a pleasure. Asari Kwao said, please, what are the key areas in management accounting? I've already shared that on the channel. Check the how-to playlist on the channel. Okay. It's just last week I shared a video on management accounting. You can watch the video. You're on Facebook. Go on my YouTube channel. It's the same name, Nhyira Premium, and you'll be able to get the key areas for management accounting on the how-to channel. Okay, on the how-to channel, so you'll be able to get that. Joseph Bob said, "I can communicate to you on Telegram." Yeah, we are on Telegram, so you can send a message on Telegram, and we'll be able to address that for you. Okay, so any other questions for me, please? So financial management and strategic case study, watch out tomorrow and Friday. Those videos should be available on the channel so that you can get access to the key areas. For other subjects like advanced audit and assurance, public sector accounting and finance, financial reporting, corporate reporting, management accounting, we've already shared that on the channel, so you can check that out there. Ntefo said, "Okay, sir, forever grateful, always a pleasure." Joseph said, "I mean, I can't." You mean you can't? Okay, I don't know. You cannot. Then you can send us hi on WhatsApp. My executive assistant will, whatever you have, my executive assistant will reach out to you or will reply and provide you with any information you have. Let me bring that up 0501149296. Let me bring up my screen. So this is the number. This is the WhatsApp number. If you're outside Ghana, +233. Then you'll be able to look at it. There is mute at the bottom of your Telegram. Yeah, because you can subscribe to my Telegram channel. I have a channel on Telegram. You can subscribe to it. Over this weekend, we'll be hosting some live stream on Telegram. So you can subscribe to the channel or send us a message on WhatsApp here, 0501149296. My assistant will attend to you there on that. Then I'm seeing a chart coming up. Let's see if I can look at it. Kofi said, how do we solve problems concerning real and money inflation? This is about investment appraisal, right? So the concept is that you must know what the cash flows are at the end of the day. If the cash flows are in real terms, then you're going to deal with the real cost of capital. And then if the cash flow are in nominal terms, then you're going to use the nominal cost of capital. Then the way you move from real to nominal will be using the Fisher formula to be able to move from real to nominal. So it depends on the context of the question to know exactly what you are talking about and how I can address that for you in that case. So it depends on the problem that you have at hand, but you have to then like I said, primarily identify what cash flows do we have? Is it in real terms or nominal terms? And then what how do we call it? What cost of capital am I having? Is this the real cost of capital or the nominal cost of capital? Because that will guide us in determining whatever amount or whatever way we go about it. Joseph Bab said, how can I subscribe? Search for Nhyira Premium. My channel is on Telegram. You can subscribe to it directly on Telegram. Okay, so that is it about that. And the key takeaways. How do you revise smartly? 1, identify the key topics that will be in the exam or for the subject. 2, identify the sub key issues you must understand under each of the key topics. Number 3, spend time to understand the areas very well, the principles. Number 4, practice a lot of questions. Practice a lot of questions. Get the ICA book. This is the ICA question bank. Get it. Solve as many questions as possible. Questions from other sources as well. For instance, if you are, for those of you learning under my mentorship, you know that, I mean, we have a lot of questions available at your disposal that you look out for, because we put together key questions to help you guys there. Hi, Nhyira. What is the best approach for this 2 weeks revision to the exams? Oh, Samuel, I'll be sharing some thoughts. I've shared some thought already on that, but I'll be sharing some thoughts with you guys on Saturday in the corporate reporting class. So we will discuss that a little on Saturday, because our executive revision masterclass will start on Monday. So I'll be sharing with you a couple of issues that you need to look out for, and how you can integrate yourself into what we will be doing in the next 2 weeks, for those of you learning under my mentorship. So Saturday, we'll talk about that, Samuel Ofori, and I'll share some thought with you on how you can go about it, how we can arrange topics, and then the next 2 weeks, what we can do. So that will be something we'll be looking at on Saturday. Then on Sunday evening, we have a Q&A session that will be on Zoom. So during that time also, I'll be taking some personal questions, and then some personal schedule of people. Then I'll provide some strategies on how you can schedule your revision and how you can look at the various things. So Samuel, we will discuss this in the main class, as well as in our Q&A session on Sunday on Zoom for the entire class, and it will be handling that day. Okay, Sam, we'll be doing that day. Okay, so that's it about that. And thank you very much for joining the stream today. Like I said, the key takeaway is that know the key areas of the exams. Make sure you understand the key topics under each of the key areas. Spend time to understand all the principles. Spend time to solve some questions, but most importantly, sacrifice. That is the holy grail. On the altar of success, there must be a sacrifice. If there is anything you're going to forget, remember that on the altar of sacrifice, on the altar of success, there must be sacrifice. If you want to be successful in your marriage, financially, ministry, career, exams, everywhere, there must be a sacrifice. So you must know what you are willing to give up for the dream that you want to have at the end of the day. And that's how you become successful. Thank you very much for joining me. And I'll catch you same time tomorrow as we continue with our discussion. Till we meet again, stay safe and stay blessed. Okay, Kofi said, God bless you, sir. Amen. God bless you too, Kofi. So I'll conclude here, and I'll catch you tomorrow again on the live stream. Remember to follow me on Instagram as well as on Facebook. Details will be posted there, so you know if it relates to something that you have to do, then you can make time to join me as well on the live stream there. Bye-bye.